Hello everyone, Paul Hiley here. This is going to be the last chance I'll have to get a video in before Christmas, because tomorrow is not only Christmas Eve and I'm not only working a double shift, it's also my wife's birthday. So when I come back from work, I wouldn't have time to sit down and do a video, and I wanted to get one done before Christmas. This is focused on what I consider are the essential things you'd need if you had a home gym. Now, this doesn't necessarily have to include all the fancy things, but the bare basics to get you going. A barbell and a set of dumbbells with some weight plates to put on them. That's the obvious ones. That was what I started with. That's what a lot of people probably did start with. Certain exercises there might be limits to, like, how much you can put over your head before you can go for a squat. Although that said, because a lot of people would state that you can't. How are you going to be able to squat heavy if you've got to hoist it up and over your head before you go down for the squat? And the answer to that is you don't do it like that. You load up your dumbbells, take the heaviest weights you've got, load them up onto your dumbbells, or a single dumbbell. You can do a goblet squat, or you can do a goblet squat holding it at a higher weight, or you can bring the dumbbells up to your shoulders and squat down that way. But that would put it in more of a front squat position. Failing that, you can just get your discs, get your weight plates, plates. I say discs a lot sometimes. I know that's because it's a disc shape, but disc or plate is the same thing. But you can get your disc or plate and hold, again, pretty much like hoist it up there, essentially clean the plate in the air, and then squat down like that. Again, that sort of form is going to keep it in more of a front squat position than a back squat, but it's still going to give your legs a good kicking in. So barbell. If you've got a barbell and a set of dumbbells, you can do most exercises that you'd want that can pack on some size and some strength. The next essential, I suppose it's essential, really. I mean, you can do a floor press, but really and truly, you need a bench. I would say you need a bench, just because bench pressing, for example, it's better, can help give you more stability than if you were just sitting up straight on a box or something. If you've got a bench you can lean back into, you can get yourself a bench like mine where you can got like different levels, so you can like lean further back. Any of the exercises that you're doing. So I would say those are the standard basics that most people need. So it'd be a barbell, dumbbells, a bench, some weights. Now, in terms of space, I train in a bit of a box room. Now, I would say the minimum requirements for the space you would need is you'd want a room which is 9 foot by 6 foot, preferably. Obviously, a lot of this depends on height, on your size and that, but I'll go into that later. Why 9 foot long? Because if you're going to buy a barbell, your better bet is to go for an Olympic-sized one, because they can just take more weight. You buy the standard 6 foot single 1 inch hole bars. Once you get to about 100, you've pretty much neared the capacity. Once you go beyond there, I think I put 120 5 on a 1-inch bar. It went with like a York set, I think it was, and yeah, one end of that bar had bowed completely off. So I would say, if you're going for strength, if you know you're going to want to be hitting a certain number, if you know you're going to want to be lifting heavier than 100 kilograms, then save yourself some money, save yourself stress. I mean, they're not cheap, but it's be cheaper than buying a whole new set. I would say if you're looking at weights, sooner or later you're going to be saying to yourself, why the hell didn't I buy a solid bar in the first place? I think you can get 6 foot Olympic bars, well 2-inch bars, on the sleeve end with 2 inches. But I'm going by what I got when I got my when I got my Olympic bar. All the weight sets that it came in, they came with a 7 foot length bar. So I would say make sure you got 9 foot of length, so you can allow for the bar, 7 foot bar in the middle of the room. Then you've got a foot either side for loading on your plates. I mean, it gets a bit tight. It can get a bit cramped, you know. I've bumped myself against the wall a couple of times as I've put the added plates to the barbell, but it can work. And with the 6 foot width, I would say that allows for most average height. Even if you're over 6 foot and you're lying, say you're doing a floor press, that is where you would be lying that way, and you'd have the length that way because of the bar, and then you'd have to get yourself hooked yourself on the floor properly for your press. And so yeah, you could always like fold your knees up, but yeah, I would say 6 foot is the most common sense width to go for. Most benches are about maybe, I don't know, 5 foot sounds a bit big, a bit much for me. They're somewhere normally between, I'd say 4.5. I wouldn't say much more than 4.5 foot flat space, if you like, bench space. So you'd have room. You'd have comfortable room by going 9x6. It'd be tight, it'd be a bit cramped, but it can be done in that space. Now, in terms of height, again, going by the room I train in, I done a test on the height, and the height is 7'4". And with that, I can get the weight above my head, my barbell, with the largest plates I've got, without touching the roof or the ceiling. But it is very, very tight. When it comes to the height bit, unless your exercise does involve cleaning up and then pressing the barbell overhead, stood up, you can make it work if you're not doing anything that explosive. The height isn't an issue if you do your overhead presses seated, because obviously that's taken like a 1.5 foot, maybe 2 foot, depending on how tall you are. 1.5 foot at least. That's taken 1.5 foot off the height. So yeah, but I would say 7 foot by 4. Yeah, 7'4" height. That would cover most people's training, unless you're doing it for big events. If you got some like those Apollo massive discs, they're about 18 inches or something. But if you've got standard sized weights that you buy from on any particular online retailer, yeah, I would say that's the space you want. You want 9 foot by 6 foot, 7.4. The 0.4 is important. That 4 inches is going to count a lot if you're pressing and your disc is you're literally about that close to knocking in your ceiling. So yeah, I would say that's the smaller sized room I would go for if you have a 7-foot bar. And like I say, it's just more common nowadays to buy that within a set. That said, if you've got a 6-foot bar, you can probably get away with having an 8-foot long room. I would say you want a foot either side, as I say, just for loading on them plates. And I suppose the width could go less than 6 foot, but it wouldn't be comfortable. Let's just say that. You'd really be cramping yourself in there with that. So yeah, that's the size you want. Your basic equipment: barbells, dumbbells, weights, and a bench. Now, for added safety, again, if you're at if you've hopefully what you want, well, what I want anyway, was my strength to reach that point where, okay, I can't squat the weight that I'm capable of squatting if I'm cleaning the barbell up each time. So you got two choices. You got your cheaper choice, which is to get a pair of squat stands. Now, with squat stands, you can use them for more than just the squat. Obviously, the squat is the main reason you're getting it, including the name. But the squat stands I got initially, they had a halfway up, they had like spotter arms for your bench press. I don't think they could drop them lower than... You couldn't use them for much thing less than that height-wise. Which is why eventually I did invest in a rack. Because it gives me the abilities to... I got a spotter there for the for any exercise I do which I'm inside here. Got the advantage of the pull-up bar there. And there. Yeah. That's a good one for any exercise whereby a spotter is extremely required. Sensible. It's sensible to have a spotter for you if you're gonna go, go over. If you're gonna go over, or if you're gonna crammed under. If you train alone from home, then it is obviously money-wise. If you can't afford it, don't do it. I would say stick with heavy dumbbells. Maybe if you train alone, you're doing a heavy barbell bench and you give out. It could very easily end in a lot of pain, potentially fatal. Whereas if you're benching and you got set of dumbbells rather, and you can't get there, let it go. You can let it go, and they're just going to fall either side of you. You try it out with a barbell, you let it go, it's just going to fall on you. So, yes. So I would say once you think you're ready to upgrade and you can afford to upgrade, I would say go for some. If you're going to get squat stands, that's fine. But I would say try and see if you can invest in a pair that have got lower safety spotters as well, because there's every chance you'll get to the point where you're like, do you know what? I want to bench heavy and not worry about it. Well, if you've got adjustable squat stands, the height can adjust from up to there, so you can have extended all the way up for your squats. On bench day, you can extend it all the way down, so you just hook it from your bench, lift it out, go down here. You got your safety spotters in case anything goes wrong. And a point on this: if you find that the safety spotters don't quite touch the chest, you're left with maybe an inch or less of space, I would say don't think that's going to count as a failed rep. And if you do get there, if you think like, oh, but I'm not getting a full, proper, contraction of the muscle for the sake of that inch, half inch, go to dumbbells. Do your benching with dumbbells then. If getting that massive stretch is what you're after, you can do that. Or on the other hand, as I'd stated, if you're not that fussed about an inch or a half, you've got them safety spotters. And they can actually come in handy for doing if you ever want to do any dead stops. Do a variation of a standard bench press where you actually do let it stop right at the bottom and then exhale it up, boom, on the full extension. So it's all worth bearing in mind. Obviously, squat rack is the most beneficial in the long run. Especially if you are looking into lifting the heaviest weights possible and increasing your strength and how much you're going to push yourself. Something like a squat and a bench press, definitely you're going to want some backup. You're going to need some backup just in case. Also helps if you want to practice some strict presses. You want that weight to be at a certain height, so you can get under and that. If you find you can press. Say you know in your mind you can press 70 kilos, but you can only clean 60. You're never going to get your 70 kilo overhead if all you can clean is 60. And there you go. In terms of like little extras which can play a great part in your training are some bands. Training bands. Essentially they're expensive rubber bands. Where is one? I've got. Here we go. Like this sort of thing. This is like the thickest band that I've got. Sometimes I use this for just banded deadlifts. Do a deadlift. I think it's like £200. No. I think it's 150, 170, 160 pounds. Anyway, you can stand in the middle of this and deadlift it, or you can use it for rows. Another thing you can do is you can attach bands either end of your barbell, attach them, have something, hook them onto the floor, and then you can do some accommodating resistance. So at the bottom here, the barbell is going to feel light as light, and then once it reaches up here and that band stretches up, you're going to be like, oh, that's heavier, and then boom. There's a chance of it springing back, but again, you've got them spotters now, so it's okay. Chains, they're a good one. Again, clock the chains either side of your barbell. You'll notice a difference in the weight when it's low in the ground as it is to when it's high up. You then got the weight of all the extra chains over it. And last, I would say, is cable attachments. You might be able to see. I've got some of that here. Because this rack I got, this was it was the most basic of basic rack. I didn't, at the time, couldn't afford it. Well, I couldn't afford any of the ones with the extension cable machines built in, and B, I wouldn't have the width for it in this room. So, sometime this year, a couple of months ago, I bought one of these like cable attachments, and you can just sort of hook them up to the... Yeah, carry on. You can hook them up to the bench, so then you've got the ability to do a couple of cable exercises. So, yeah, I would say that is the absolute bare minimum. So, start off, if you want to train from home, I would say, make sure you got some space. I would go for a 9-foot by 6-foot room. The height isn't necessarily a massive issue, because as I said, you can do overhead press stuff seated, so that takes a lot of the height out of the equation. But if you do want to be doing some like standing overhead stuff, I would say you'd be wanting around 7'4", or maybe 7 foot, depending on really, it depends on which weight discs you're using. Now I use 25 kilogram discs either side. They're about that big. But if I used a 15 and a 10 either side, that would take the size down a bit. You'd have the same weight, but you'd have a bit more headspace up the top there. So yeah, I would say that's the room size you want. You want a barbell, dumbbells, and a bench. Like I said, the bench might not be a necessity as such, but really and truly, yeah, you're going to have a more exercise selection availability to you. As I say, and get if you can get an adjustable one, so you're different heights, so you can bench from flat bench, incline bench, all different. Like I say, the squat stands, the rack, safety spotting things, only really becomes a bit more essential when you're doing heavy barbell work. Like, it is mainly squats and benches we're talking about, and yeah, I suppose for strict overhead presses as well. But yeah, those bits I'd say are the bare bones. The stands, the rack, that only really comes into it when you are wanting to be doing some heavy barbell work, because you can squat with dumbbells, you can bench with dumbbells, and not have that worry about having that straight bar, because you've got your weight. Yeah, you see what I mean, it's divvy up over than that. Right, the last thing I'm going to poke on is the competition. There is a competition which is currently being run. I have got two chances to win a free 12-week personalised programme by me. All you have to do is guess the age of my bench. Now, it's had a kick in the years. If you go on Facebook, or Instagram, there are pictures of it a bit more detailed there. I can try and show you a picture now, but it might not be that good because the bench is stood up and what have you. But let's have a look. Where's my hand? Right, where are we? There's the Lost Boys. Here we go. Here it is. It's old York style bench. Got a couple of bits of duct tape round. I've missed a bit there. Sort of there. Bit of duct tape up the top there. Hello. Bit of duct tape around these bits here. What can I say? I'm a little bit cheap. Just a little bit. Right. So yeah, guess the age of that bench and you can win a free 12-week personalised programme. Right, and when I say that, I don't mean you'll get a 12-week exercise guide or a 12-week programme written up like the Ho-Ho Heavy programme, which is very much a cookie cutter programme. These are the exercises you do. A personalised programme isn't just the exercises you'll be doing. It isn't just like suggestions on the diet you should be taking in. It is 12 weeks of your life. And this is something everyone who goes into physical training with a end goal that they will achieve through their physical training needs to think about. It doesn't just begin and end in the gym. It doesn't just begin and end in the kitchen. Abs are made in the kitchen. It's everything. It's what time do I get up in the morning? It's what days can I dedicate to the gym? It's how long can I dedicate to time in the gym? It's what do I do while I'm outside of the gym? Do I go for walks or do I get the bus? Do I get a taxi? Do I buy myself a bicycle? It is everything. How much sleep am I getting? How late at night am I eating? Shall I go out on the town tonight? Shall I have a extra cheat day? It's everything. You literally look at your life and you say, right, I can dedicate this to this. And sometimes you have to think, well, with this, if I miss out on my party time, that I don't want to miss out on my party time. I'll get healthy, but not at the cost of that. It's looking at everything. It's absolutely everything. And this is the thing that needs to be pushed home. And I think this isn't pushed home enough because people don't want to keep people off the idea of buying a program from them or following a line that they say. There's all this, there's these, there's always a fad in the fitness world. There's always a gimmick in the fitness world. Eat whatever you like and you'll get results. Says who? What people do. Fitness is dedication. It is that is the key word. The key word is you have to be dedicated. You have to really want to push it, which is why you have to ask yourself, how much do I really want it? And if at the end of the day, if you say to yourself, yeah, I want to get fit, I want to get fitter, I want to get healthier, I want to get stronger at a cost. I'm sorry, I'll be blunt about this. You don't want to get healthier, you don't want to get fitter, you don't want to get stronger, you don't want to lose weight, you don't want to do any of that because you're not willing to sacrifice that for that. Which is ridiculous, because it won't work. I don't want to rant too much because this video is nearing the end and I've still got some other bits I've got to do. So there you go, that's it. Guess the age of the bench. Go on to Paul Hiley Lifts on Facebook. Go to Paul Hiley Lifts on Instagram. There's more in-depth pictures. Well, they're not in-depth, they're just clearer. There's some clearer pictures of what the bench looks like. Guess the age of the bench and you will win a free 12-week personalised program. And I've got 2 of them up for grabs. So that's 2 chances. Basically, guess it once, guess it twice. And I'll contact whoever, the first 2 people that get it, I will contact them. And we will work on their personalised 12-week program. Right, that's all of that then. Okay, well, I hope you all have a blinding Christmas. And I'll leave you as I always leave you. Keep it strong, keep it happy, keep it healthy. Merry Christmas.